Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso since the 2022 coup, has been carving out an image as a bold, unapologetic voice on the world stage. His appearance at the United Nations, where he reportedly delivered a dramatic 48-hour ultimatum to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has sparked both curiosity and controversy. The mere framing of such a demand is enough to reverberate across global politics. Even if details remain sparse or couched in sensational coverage, the ultimatum itself, according to what is implied by sources circulating online, centered on Israel's conduct in the ongoing conflict and its treatment of Palestinian territories. Traoré may have demanded an immediate cessation of particular military operations, a reversal of aggressive policies, or, at the very least, a pledge to engage in genuine peace negotiations. By setting a 48-hour deadline, he ensured the world's attention was fixed on both the urgency of his call and on Netanyahu's potential response. This time constraint, though symbolic, is a classic political maneuver designed to spotlight indecision and force headlines. Although Burkina Faso is not a global superpower, the symbolism of such a bold move cannot be understated. For Traoré, who has positioned himself as an anti-imperialist and a voice of the global South, challenging Netanyahu at the UN offered an opportunity to showcase Burkina Faso as more than a small Sahelian state. It cast him as someone unafraid to confront powerful figures on the global stage, aligning himself rhetorically with struggles for sovereignty, justice, and human rights. Within Africa, this could bolster his reputation among leaders and movements that see Western dominance and allied powers as overbearing. The content of the ultimatum likely mixed calls for accountability, with broader appeals to international law. Demands could have included halting sieges or offensive actions, opening humanitarian corridors, or participating in binding UN resolutions. The consequences Traoré may have hinted at are less about Burkina Faso acting alone and more about collective pressure. He might have threatened to lead or join boycotts, withdraw diplomatic participation, or push for coordinated action among African or non-aligned nations. The real power of his ultimatum rests in whether he could persuade others to rally around his call. Global reactions to such an ultimatum would vary dramatically. Israel under Netanyahu is known for brushing off international criticism, especially when it comes from smaller or less directly involved states. Officials may have dismissed the remarks as interference or grandstanding. Within the UN, however, such a statement can shift conversations, force media outlets to cover a viewpoint they might otherwise sideline, and inspire debate about whether smaller nations can meaningfully challenge great powers. Among African states and the broader global South, reactions would likely be mixed. Some leaders could applaud Traoré's boldness, while others might distance themselves, wary of potential diplomatic or economic repercussions. The choice of a 48-hour deadline is especially intriguing. It is far too short a time for genuine negotiation or policy reversal, but perfect for commanding international attention. It transforms a speech from routine diplomacy into a spectacle, ensuring that news outlets and social media latch onto the urgency of the demand. Even if Netanyahu ignored the ultimatum, Traoré had already succeeded in making Burkina Faso's voice impossible to overlook. At least for a news cycle or two, this moment also reflects broader shifts in international politics. Many African leaders are becoming more outspoken in global forums, seeking to redefine their roles in a multipolar world where US and European dominance is being challenged by rising powers and alliances. Traoré's ultimatum fits neatly into this trend. By placing himself at the center of a controversy involving Israel, a country long at the heart of international disputes, he effectively elevated his profile far beyond West Africa. Of course, caution is necessary when interpreting such dramatic claims. Viral headlines and YouTube titles often exaggerate or oversimplify events. The actual speech or ultimatum may have been more nuanced, framed as a passionate appeal rather than a literal demand backed by enforceable consequences. Without official transcripts or reliable media coverage, the sensational framing may not fully capture what Traoré said. Yet even if exaggerated, the perception that he issued such a demand serves a political purpose in itself. It cements his image as a daring and uncompromising figure willing to challenge the most powerful leaders on earth. The impact of this ultimatum lies less in whether Netanyahu responds within 48 hours and more in how it positions Traoré and Burkina Faso within the wider global conversation. If he follows up with diplomatic outreach, seeks support from blocs like the African Union or BRICS, or mobilizes grassroots solidarity, the ultimatum could become more than just rhetoric. If not, it will still stand as a striking moment of political theater, a deliberate shock designed to remind the world that even small nations can claim the spotlight at the undot in some. Traoré's 48-hour ultimatum to Netanyahu represents a blend of substance and spectacle. It highlights his ambition to project strength, to align himself with global struggles against perceived injustice, and to reframe Burkina Faso's role in international affairs. Whether it produces tangible change in Israel's policies is doubtful, but its symbolic power is undeniable. By stunning the UN with such a bold declaration, Traoré demonstrated that the stage of global politics is open not just to the traditional powers, but also to those willing to seize attention with courage and conviction.